Hi everyone, today I want to show you how to make these lovely floral puff stitches. Let's get started. Hi, I'm Elizabeth and today I want to show you how to make this lovely solid pattern. But before we start, I wanted to talk about this pattern before we begin. So as you can see on your screen, I can see it as well on my screen, so I might be looking at my screen as well to make sure I am in focus of the video. So as you can see here, you can see that there's 3 puff stitches in a shell, and it's an offset stitches, which means from the previous repeat, the next repeat would be quite offset halfway, so it creates this diamond shape. And it's a lovely pattern as well because you can see it creates these diamond shape stitches. As well as I want to show you this pattern when it's not off stitch, when it's called an inline stitch. So here we go. So this is the same pattern, but this is an inline. As you can see here, the shell puff stitches, the next repeat will be above it. So it's not offset. That is why it's called an inline stitches. So it's the same pattern. If you go for this pattern, it will be a 2-row repeat. And if you go with the other pattern, as you can see here, it will be a 4-row repeat because you need to repeat these 2 sections here. So one for this row, one for this row, and then you need to repeat the same 4-row repeats. So it will be up to you which one you want, this one or this one. They are both beautiful. Actually, perhaps you can merge them together with your pattern. The only difference with these two, as I said, is that we place the puff stitches on top of the previous puff stitches, while this one is on between the 2 puff stitches from previous row. As well as the beginning stitches would be different to support the way we do the rows. But all together now, we've got nice stretch edges as well. So this can be nice for blankets, and if you have a pattern for a jumper, perhaps you can use this as well. But today, the one we're going to make is this one, the offset pattern, because once you know these stitches, you'll be able to do these stitches if you want to go for it. So this one is in terms of difficulty, this one is more difficult than this one, but in general they are both easy to learn, as I'm going to show you how to do it anyways. Okay, first I'm going to find a nice yarn. Perhaps I'm going to use a different color, and give me a moment. Okay, so today I will be using my 4mm crochet hook. So this is from Tulip, Japan. So it's my red one. And if you want to know this yarn, I have used the violet color of the Stylecraft special. So this is a DK yarn in violet. And with this one is the camel one. And it's the same Stylecraft special double knit. But the one I'll be using for the tutorial is the Women's Institute. I think this is exclusive for a particular shop. You can only get it from them, which is the hobbycraft.co.uk here in the UK. So this one is light pink. So this is also a DK yarn, so I will be using a 4mm crochet hook as well. So it's a very nice premium acrylic yarn. Okay, let me prepare my stuff and let's begin. So this pattern is a multiple of 8 plus 5 plus 5. For this tutorial, I will just be making 8 plus 8 plus 8. So that's 8 times 3 plus 5 plus 5. That will give us another puff stitch. And this particular length will be our sample here in this tutorial. So to begin, I'm going to make a slip knot. So that's how I make my slip knot. So let's do it again. And you can tighten it up because we're not going to make any stitch into the slip knot. And then I'm going to chain 8 first. And then another 8. And another 8. And now the base chains plus 5. And another 5. So a total of 44 chains. Okay, so to begin the first row, into the second chain from the hook. So that's 1, 2. This one is not counted as a stitch. So 1, 2. I'm going to use the back ridge of that chain and make a single crochet. So as you can see, the back ridge is the back of the chain. As you can see here. So that we can preserve that nice V-shape stitches. Now we're going to skip the next 3 chains. So that's 1, 2, 3 back ridges there. And into the next one, we're going to make our first puff stitch. So our puff stitch here is 3 half double crochets together. So that's yarn over, insert your hook into that back ridge, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, and one more time, yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. So there should be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loops on our hook. And then yarn over and pull it all through 7 loops on the hook. And then chain 2. And we're going to repeat that again into the same stitch. yarn over, insert your hook, and pull up a loop. This particular yarn is a little bit fluffy. Make sure you take all your loops. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull up a loop. Okay, that's it. And then yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull up a loop. One more time, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull up a loop. There should be 7 loops on our hook, 2, 4, 6, 7, and then yarn over and pull it through all the 7 loops on the hook. So that's our second puff stitch, and then chain 2, and then we're going to make another puff stitch into the same stitch. And that's it. And then to close it, make sure you close your puff stitch to complete the puff stitch. And then to complete the shell stitch, because as you can see here, to complete the shell stitch, we need to be able to make a shell. So that means we're going to skip the next 3 chains here. Sometimes this very next chain will be a little bit tighter because we pulled too much space here. So make sure you are able to count that chain. So 1, 2, 3, and into the next chain make a single crochet. So that completes the shell stitch. And this is our very first 3-petal puff shell stitch. I think that's the right term for this set of stitches. So we've got 3 half double crochets together there to create the puff stitch. And into the same stitch we made 3 puff stitches, and then those 3 puff stitches creates the shell stitch as a whole. So this is quite a mouthful of stitch pattern. So this, you got a single crochet here, single crochet on both ends, and we're going to do the same stitch all the way across here. And to continue with that, so this single crochet here serve as this first single crochet here at the very beginning. So what we're going to do is the same way as we did. We skip the first, we skip the next 3 chains, and into the 4th here, repeat that puff stitches. So we're going to make our first puff stitch. That's yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over again, insert your hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, and one more time, and then yarn over and pull it through 7 loops on the hook, and then close it, and then we need to chain 1 again. So that's a total of chain 2. So between the 3 puff stitches, there should be 2 chains. Except the very last one, we close it with only just 1 chain, and then the single crochet there. Okay, so we're going to make another puff stitch to the same stitch. If you are a beginner, this can be difficult, this puff stitch, because it tends to go tight. So make sure you make a little bit slack so that you are able to pull the loops through all the 7 loops on the hook. So yarn over, pull it through all 7 loops on the hook, and then chain 2, And then we're going to make another one. So you can see here, just add extra space if you are finding it difficult to pull it through the 7 loops on the hook, so that it's a little bit slack like this. Then yarn over and pull it through 7 loops on the hook. So for the last puff stitch, chain 1, then into the next chains here, the next 3 chains we're going to skip it, 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th make a single crochet. So we have made our second puff shell stitch, and we're going to repeat that all the way across. So we should be able to have 4 puff shell stitches all together for this row. So I'm going ahead and do that. Okay, we're going to skip the next 3 chains here, so make sure it looks like there's only 3 here. As you can see here, as I said earlier, the next chain can be a little bit tight because we have pulled a lot of space on this stitch. So make sure you are able to count that chain there. So that's 1, 2, 3, and our count is correct. So this very last chain here, we're going to make a single crochet. And so this is our first row. So to continue with our second row, chain 3, and then turn into the first stitch here, make a double crochet. So that's yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. So this is a US term, so I'm using the American standard here, and in the UK this is called treble crochet. I'll stick with the US terms. So chain 2, and then insert your hook into the top of the second puff stitch from previous row and make a single crochet. Chain 2 into the next stitch, which is this next single crochet here, make 3 double crochet. So that you can find it between 2 shell puff shell stitches. So 3 double crochets there. 1, 2, and 3. And then chain 2 again. Then into the next top of shell stitch, make a single crochet. You can easily find it just right above there. That is actually the first chain that you made when you close the puff stitch. So you can see this row straighten up the pattern. As you can see here, as you can see the difference. Let's have a look. So you would want to close your pattern if you want it straight through the double crochet row so that it's nice and straight. But if for some reason you want to end it with the puff stitch row, you will have this wavy pattern there. So this one is closed with the double crochet row, as you can see here. So the top is nice and flat. So let's continue. Chain 2 and then 3 double crochet into that next single crochet. And continue that all the way across. That's a chain 2, 3 double crochets into the next stitch, then another chain 2 here to finish off on top of the next shell stitch, then chain 2. And here remember that our very first stitch is a single crochet. That one, make 2 double crochet, 1 and then 2. So these 2 double crochet will match very end there with 2 double crochet. So the chain 3 that we have made is counted as a stitch. So this is the second row. So if you want to continue with the inline stitch, you will just repeat this row 1 and row 2 like this. But we are going to switch to this pattern. So we're going to make our next puff shell stitch into these 3 double crochets there so that it's offset. So we're going to offset now on the next 2 rows. To do that, chain 3 and then turn. This is counted as a stitch, and then into that very first stitch make a half double crochet. So that's yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through all the 3 loops on the hook. So these 2 stitches here is half of this middle puff stitch. So that means we are going to make another set of puff stitch to complement this very last puff stitch here. So I'm going to chain 2 first and then make a full puff stitch into the same stitch. So since this serves as the last puff stitch, this one we're just going to chain 1 just to close the puff stitch. And then remember, we made a single crochet on top of the middle puff stitch on the previous row. Therefore, we are going to make a single crochet there. that completes the half of the puff shell stitch. And now by doing that, we just started the offset stitches. Now on the next sets of stitches here, we've got the 2 double crochets from the previous row. We are going to use the middle double crochet here, and from that stitch we make the puff stitches, the shell puff stitch or puff shell stitch. Okay, so there's going to be 3 of them there into that same stitch with a chain 2 in between. Then the last one should be closed with 1 chain. And then to complete the shell stitch, we make a single crochet into the next single crochet. There you are. So this is our first complete puff shell stitch for this row, and this one is the half of it. And then we are going to repeat that in every center of the 3 double crochets on from the previous row. So let's do it. Okay, we are on the last full puff stitch, and the next one will be just half. So the next one here on the very last, we're just going to make half to match this very first row here. Yeah, okay. So to finish off, the way we're going to do it, not on this top of the first double crochet, but on top of the chain 3 here, which is this chain. So not this one that you can see here, because that is equivalent to this first double crochet here. So we are going to make a stitch into this 3rd chain here. Okay. So we're going to make 1 full puff stitch, and then the next one chain 2 first, and then the next one will just 2 puffs, 2 half double crochets together. So this is our 3rd row. So that is matching the one here, the other half. So this is our 3rd row. So that means when this yarn end is on the left, you are actually working on the front of the pattern, but for this time, so this is the right side really, and this is the wrong side, but the wrong side is actually the front, because whenever you make the puff stitches, it pushes the puff to the other side. As you can see here, the other side has these raised texture. So the wrong side is the front of the pattern. That's what I want to say. So now this third row where we made the puff stitches creates these curved lines, curved edges. So the row of the double crochet row will flatten those curves, and that's what we are going to do. So to continue with the next row, which is the fourth row and the last of the repeat, chain 2 and then turn. So we chain 2 here so that we can keep a straight edge as we work along going up, and then into the same stitch make a single crochet, and then chain 2, and then into the next single crochet make 3 double crochet, and then chain 2, and then into the top of the shell stitch make a single crochet. It's the same way as you did from previous shell stitch here, chain 2 and then 3 double crochet into the next single crochet, then chain 2, single crochet into the next top of the shell stitch, and we're going to do that all the way across. And then single crochet into the next top of the shell stitch. As you can see, this row of double crochet flatten up the top edge of your pattern. Chain 2, and we're going to make a single crochet on top of the chain 3 here. And so this is the repeat all together. So what we are going to, I'm going to do another row just to create that diamond shape here. You can see. Perhaps we can say that the repeat is from row 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're not going to say that the beginning of the repeat is the row 1. So now I've done I've done this. I'm going to repeat this very first row here. So to do that, chain 1, and then turn, then make a single crochet into the first stitch. Then we can start making the puff stitches on top of the middle double crochet, the same way as we did with this second repeat of the puff stitches. So make sure you capture all your loops, like avoid missing loops, like what I just did. So this particular hook is really nice because I can just easy to catch all the yarns and the loops. So make sure with the offset stitches you are making your puff shell stitch into the top of the middle double crochet. Okay, I'm on the last stitch now, so here towards the end I'm just going to make a single crochet, same as I did on the other side. And so this is our floral 3-petal puff shell stitch pattern. So I hope you like this pattern, and this is how it looks when you made as big as this. And I hope you like this pattern too, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time.